Hello, and welcome to this session for PowerActions. In today's session, we're going to discuss more about what PowerActions is, and you will see that it's a great tool that brings together the user interface and the CLI, and it allows you to extend the UI with custom script actions. First of all, a short disclaimer. Everything that you're going to see today is still under development. There is no commitment from VMware that it will be released as a generally available product, and you shouldn't use what we see today as a driver for any decision to purchase any VMware products or features. Uh, Quickly, the agenda for today's session. We're going to start with a brief introduction in PowerCLI for those of you that don't know what PowerCLI is. Then we're going to move to the essence of today's session, PowerActions. We're going to explain what it is, what benefits it gives you, what makes it so powerful, and um, how you can use it in your organization. And then we're going to continue with the most interesting part of today's session, the demo where you will see PowerActions in action. My name is Kamen Nikolov, and I'm R&D manager for PowerCLI at VMware and a vExpert. You can find me on Twitter, where you can follow me, and I'm publishing all the latest news around PowerCLI. Any news around the releases of PowerCLI and PowerCLI related products as PowerActions, also any events that we organize, etc. So let's start with what PowerCLI is for those of you that don't know it yet. PowerCLI is a CLI tool for VMware that you can use to automate the different VMware products. It is actually a set of PowerShell modules, so it's getting all the benefits from PowerShell, like a super easy deployment through the PowerShell gallery with just a single command. A very good scripting language that PowerShell has, and that allows you to write very complex scripts to automate all the workflows that you like. Um, and of course, PowerCLI is an API client, so it uses the APIs of the VMware products to actually interact with those products. But it also adds a layer of abstraction on those APIs, and this layer abstracts the complexity of the APIs. It also abstracts the differences between the APIs, so it gives a consistent look and feel across the different VMware products and across the different APIs that they have. And in most of the cases, it also gives you a much simplified way to call the APIs without having to specify all the complex API objects and all the complex API specs. Uh, PowerCLI is also cross-platform. You can use it across the different operating systems supported by PowerShell. You can use it on Windows, Linux, and Mac OS. It is also available as a container, so you can also use it in a containerized environment. And of course, PowerCLI, as normally PowerShell, is object-oriented. So everything is an object. You don't, unlike any other scripting languages or CLI tools, you don't have to parse complex strings to get the output. Your output is an object, and you can browse through its properties. To get the information that you have, which makes things much easier than working with some CLI tools where you need to do complex string parsing. The basic, the most popular use cases that we have seen our customers use PowerCLI for are administration, building and configuration, provisioning, reporting, orchestration, monitoring, and so on. So in general, automation. So you can do all kinds of automation with PowerCLI. And here is a list of the different VMware products that you can automate using PowerCLI. Of course, it includes vSphere, vSAN, but it also includes our cloud products like VMware Cloud on AWS, VMware Cloud Director. It also includes NSXT, Site Recovery Manager, HCX, Horizon, and so on. So you can see that it is a rich product that allows you to automate different VMware products, and it also allows you to make cross-product workflows. So you can use the same script and read some information from one VMware product and perform an action in another VMware product based on that. So you can do cross-product workflows with PowerCLI as well. Now let's move on to PowerActions and what PowerActions actually is. PowerActions is a feature of the vSphere client, which allows you running PowerCLI scripts from within the vSphere client. It provides a library where you can save your scripts. Currently, that's backed by the content library, but in the future it can be extended to support different library backings. It also provides a console, a simple console that you can do some testing. You can execute single commands or short scripts and so on. So you can have a console to quickly play with PowerCLI right from within the vSphere client. Currently, it has been released as part of the vSphere UI Flink, which supports vSphere 6.5 and 6.7 only. But we're also working for a version that will support vSphere 7 as well. What are the main benefits of PowerActions? First, it is a simple web interface for running scripts. It is easy to execute a script through PowerActions. You don't need any PowerShell or PowerCLI knowledge to do that. So it can be used from any administrator in your organization or any user in your organization that has access to the vSphere client. They don't need to know anything about PowerShell. They don't need to know anything about PowerCLI. They don't need any scripting experience. So a system administrator that has experience in PowerShell and PowerCLI, that knows how to write scripts, writes a custom script, imports it into the library, and all the users in the organizations can just use this script. There is a simple interface that allows them to pass the parameters of the script, and it also has a context menu integration where you can execute a script from the context menu so that it gets the object that you have right-clicked on as a context parameter of the script. And it virtually gives you the ability to extend the vSphere UI client with everything that you can imagine. So you can write any script and you can extend the vSphere client with new functionality. So it is something like the macroses, for example, in Microsoft Office, where you can create any custom macros and you can extend the Office with this action. Here it is the same. You can create any custom PowerCLI script and you can extend the UI client with much wider functionality than what is built in. How we're executing those actions is an interesting topic. So what we're using to execute the actions is the script runtime service. This is an open source project which is available on GitHub. It is a VMware originated open source project. Um, it is actually a service that provides a REST API for script execution, and you can integrate with this REST API virtually anything. You can integrate in the case of PowerActions. Obviously, we're integrating with the vSphere client, but we can also integrate with VRO and VRA. We can integrate with any third-party system that just will use the REST API um, to create a run space and to run the script in this run space. So script runtime service is the centralized place to run the scripts in your organization, and in the future it could also be extended with the script library, uh, and it can also become the central place to store the scripts. Um, it can currently it only supports PowerShell and PowerCLI, but in the future it can be extended to support different management tools like Python, Go, Terraform, Ansible, and so on. Um, it has a container management that for every script execution that is requested, creates a PowerShell and PowerCLI container and executes the script in this container, and then it returns back the results through the REST API. So this is in general how the script runtime service works, so that you know what's behind the scenes in PowerActions. What is coming up next in PowerActions? First, as I told you, we're planning to make a standalone release, which will not be part of the vSphere UI client link, but it will be a separate release, and it will also support vSphere 7. Um, we're planning to improve the console experience. Currently, you'll see in the demo, the console experience is quite basic. It lacks some features like autocomplete and so on. But we're planning to fix that. And another thing that we're planning to include is script scheduling, so that besides from the interactive script execution, where you go and say I want to run that script, you will be able to schedule scripts so that a script can be executed every day at a certain time, or it can be executed every week, or so on. Now let's go to the most interesting part, the demo. So in our test environment here in this demo, we have our vCenter, and we have two clusters. We have one production cluster and one test cluster. In the test cluster, we have three virtual machines. We have an app server, a DB server, and a web server. So what we're going to do in this demo, we're going to define some PowerShell scripts. We're going to add them to PowerActions, and I'm going to show you how to execute them through the vSphere UI client. The first script is a very simple script that accepts a cluster and a snapshot name as a parameter. What it does is that it gets all the VMs in the cluster, and for each of the VMs in the cluster, it creates a new snapshot with the specified snapshot name. So in general, this is a script that snapshots all the VMs in a cluster. Um, and the next script that we have is a reporting script that will show us all the snapshots in the cluster. It only accepts the cluster as an input, and it lists all the VMs in the cluster. And for every VM in the list, it gets all its snapshots. And for each snapshot, it extracts some of the properties that we have decided that we want, and it presents them as a table. Um, it will present the VM name, the snapshot, the date that the snapshot was created, the age of the snapshot in days, and if the snapshot is the current snapshot or not. And of course, we have calculated the snapshot age in days. It is not something that comes from the API. It is something that we calculate in the script. So now we're going to Developer Center, PowerActions, and we see that we still don't have a script library, so we have to create one first. As I told you, it is currently backed by a content library, so it is essentially a content library creation. We select the name, the data store that we want to store that content library, and here we go. Now we have our script library. Now we're going to upload our our scripts one by one. First, we're going to upload the reporting script, and then we're going to import the script that creates a snapshot for all the VMs in the cluster. Uh, Now that we're done, we can see the two scripts that we have in our content library. Uh, Now let's go to the clusters, and I'll show you that currently our VMs have no snapshots defined. Okay, now let's go and execute the script that will create a snapshot. So we select the script. Down here we can see the contents of the script for us to check if this is the correct script that we want to run. Then we go select run, and here we can specify the parameters. So we specify the cluster, and we specify the name of the snapshot. In our case, we're going to specify first snapshot as the name of the snapshot. Then we go click OK, and now the script will be executed in the background in the script runtime service, as I told you. First, there is an action that will do the PowerCLI vCenter login for us. PowerActions does that automatically. We don't need to have the login logic in our scripts. It is done by PowerActions, and it logs in with the user that is logged in the UI client. Now, if we go check the VM, we're going to see that we have one snapshot that is called first snapshot. So all the VMs in the cluster now have been snapshotted. Now let me show you the other way to execute a script. We right-click on the cluster. We go select execute script, and then we select our cluster snapshot script again. Now, if we select OK, we'll be asked to fill the parameters, but this time we don't need to fill in the cluster because it is automatically filled in from the context menu. So since we have right-clicked on the cluster, it is automatically selected, and now the script will create a second snapshot on the VMs in our cluster. Let's go and verify that. Okay, yep, we now have two snapshots, first snapshot and second snapshot for each of the VMs. Now let's go and execute the other script, which will give us the report for all the snapshots in the cluster. Here we don't need to pass any parameters because the cluster has been filled automatically. Now, if we go to the Developer Center, PowerActions, and script executions, we can see that the script has been completed. And when we click on that, we can see the script result. So this is the table that I told you about. It shows us all the VMs and all the snapshots. For every snapshot, we can see when it was created, its age in days, and if it's the current snapshot or not. So this is our report. Now, last, I want to also show you the console. As I told you, it is a simple console that allows you to execute single commands, like in our case, get VM, which will retrieve all the VMs in our environment, and it also allows us to execute scripts, like we first get all the VMs and save them into the VM variable, and then we get all the snapshots for all the VMs. And here we go. This is the result from our script. We also have buttons here to copy the script to the clipboard and to download the script as a PS1 file. As I said, it is quite a simple console, but we're planning to extend it in the future. So that was all for today. I hope it was interesting, and you already see the value and how you could be able to use that to use PowerActions in your organization. Thank you.